Welcome back to Cody's Movie Cave, where we're going to be talking about movies, as we always are. So, today we're going to take it back a little bit, a few years, not too far back, but pretty good, it's not new. And that movie is The Accountant. The Accountant. Now, don't get it, don't, if you hadn't seen it, don't be thinking, oh, this is going to be a movie about money and numbers and it's going to be boring. And no, it is not. This movie stars Ben Affleck, fan favorite of mine. It's got John Lithgow, I think is his name, John Bernthal, which is the guy that plays the Punisher on the Netflix series. Huge fan of his as well. So yeah, it's got Batman and the Punisher in it. Winning combination, right there, boom. So this movie is really unique and good as far as the action standpoint, because our leading man, our main protagonist, if you will, the character is someone who has autism. So I thought that very fascinating and very, very cool that we kind of get a different take on a different style of action hero, right? It's not your standard issue, muscle bound, type person. He's super smart, super tough, and he's good with numbers. But yeah, The Accountant is about this man named Christian Wolf, which is an alias, who basically will come in to these criminal enterprises, the cartel, any type situation, mafia, any of that sort of deal, and uncook the books, so to speak. You don't want to, if you're doing illegal things, you can't exactly go to H&R Block, right? It's not really something you can do. So they bring in this guy, and you kind of get a little bit of a backstory, history to him. Him and his younger brother are, Army brats. Their dad was this special forces colonel in the Army who raised them on his own and sort of raised them to be tough, to be smart, and to be lethal. And so that's kind of where his skill set comes from as a man of action. And so it's very good. Things happen, he gets caught up in this web of intrigue and conspiracies, and has to wind up protecting our female lead, which is played by Anna Kendrick from Pitch Perfect. So he has to wind up protecting her, and it's just got some really great fights in it, really cool stuff. And like I said, it's different. It's not your straightforward action hero, and I like that. I like that it brings in a bit of that world, so to speak, of autism and stuff like that. So Ben Affleck does a great job, as always. This was right after Batman versus Superman, so he was still very much in action hero phase. And so it almost plays out like a Batman movie, really. It's kind of like a non-version of Batman. Anyway, he pulls off the brooding really well, and he nails this performance as someone who has autism. He really does a good job at bringing that performance out of that character. Anyway, really good. Like I said, John Bernthal, I think that's his name. The guy that plays the Punisher does a great job. He's super tough. So yeah, it's fun to see Batman versus Punisher, right? So it's a good movie. Very good. It's got a lot of action, like I said. Here's the thing. There is some draggy moments. Not a lot, but there is some that could have been, I felt was a little bit on the long side. Also, it's heavily filtered throughout with flashback scenes. And here's what I'm going to say. Most of the time, I do not like a movie that has oversaturated with flashback scenes or, in the past type stuff that goes back and forth. Can sometimes be a little bit hard to follow, but this movie handles that really well, and I think it's very useful and conducive to the plot. So, you know, I commend them on that, and you know, I think the flashback scenes were needed. For a good example of where it wasn't needed and it was too much was Batman Begins, right? I mean, the whole half of that movie is nothing but flashback scenes. So, you know, sometimes it don't work, but it does in this one. And so, yeah, The Accountant, I feel, was really good. There were talks of a sequel right after it came out, but nothing's kind of come to fruition, if you will, on that front. I'm hoping that we can get something off of that, but, you know, Ben Affleck is a pretty busy guy, and he is possibly coming back as Batman, so his schedule might be a little packed at the moment, but, you know, here's hoping we get a sequel one day. So, yeah. It's a great movie if you like action, conspiracy, if you like thrillers, if you like, if you're a fan of Ben Affleck, which I am, I think you'll like it. You'll dig it. The Accountant, let's see. It's on TV quite often, you know, TNT, things like that. But if you want to buy it or rent it, you always find it on the big three, right? Apple, Vudu, and Amazon. We almost gave you the bird there, I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, you can get it on those. It may be on HBO Max. That would probably where it would be if it was streaming for free, because it's a Warner Brothers movie and they get Warner Brothers movies. So, that being said, The Accountant is a fun, different take on the action genre. If you're looking for something that's a little different and not straightforward, this might be your cup of tea, okay? With that said, as we always say down here in the cave, this has been my opinion. Opinions are like butts. Everybody's got them. Some of them stink. Later.
Your son is a remarkable young man. He has highly advanced cognitive skills. He has more in common with Einstein or Mozart than he does with us. I'd like to work with your son. Help him develop the skills he'll need to lead a full life.
It's not going to happen. The world is not a friendly place, and that's where he needs to learn to live.
How did you get into financial consulting? How did you get into financial consulting? My dad was an accountant. You know, he had the whole shtick. The dorky pocket protector.
I have a pocket protector.
That's a nice one.
Do you like puzzles? Tell me what you see. Was taken 3 years ago by an undercover agent.
It's the same person.
He was spotted in Tehran, Tel Aviv, and Naples. This guy risks his life uncooking the books for some of the scariest people on the planet. Drug cartels, arms brokers, money launderers, assassins. Who survives this kind of clientele? Imagine the secrets this guy has.
What are you doing here?
Who are you?
You're different. Sooner or later, different scares people.
I have difficulty socializing with other people, even though I want to.
There's people looking for you.
If their secrets get too big, killing you may be the cost of doing business. If you go down this road, you can't go back. Some of my clients are quite dangerous.
Why would your clients follow you? You're an accountant. We have to go to the police.
Police can't protect you.
So who is he?
The Accountant.
Like a CPA accountant?
Not quite.